and we will be sending a copy of the recording to all the registrants and attendees. And just look for that. It's coming from my email address, adrian@erpvar.com. And we always publish each webinar to our YouTube channel, where you can find that at youtube.com/ERPvar. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the different companies and briefly summarize their core competencies. So SturdyPro Solutions is a team of experienced professionals with over 25 years experience. They have unique solutions to address your business challenges. So they're dedicated to providing the right solutions specifically designed for your business. So you'll be able to be rest assured that they're certified developers with Sage 100, consultants, technicians. They also have CPAs on staff and software programmers. We have ScanCo ACS Multibin, which is one software solution now. So they're a Sage OEM provider and leader in the WMS applications for Sage 100 since 1989. They have thousands of distribution and manufacturing companies using their solution. And the great thing about their solution is that it is available on iOS devices, Android, and Windows handheld devices that the warehouse personnel can use out in the warehouse for all the needs and picking and packing the shipments for Starship. And so Starship is a leading provider of shipping software. They're a Sage Gold development partner. They specialize in integrated shipping solutions. They've been doing this since 1989, so they have a lot of experience with the Sage products, and that's one of their core competencies as far as an ERP solution. In addition to all the relationships they have today, they also integrate with the majority of EDI solutions out there, and those often go hand in hand with ScanCo for inventory management and shipping. So we also have APS with us. They're American Payment Solutions. They have connections with many industries. They're a leading merchant service provider for hospitality, restaurant, software companies throughout the U.S. and Canada. And they're a full-service merchant services provider. So they have lots of small, medium, and large organizations benefiting from their ability to get the lowest rates for credit card processing through level 3 processing. And we'll just run through the workflow real quick. So Simon from SturdyPro Solutions is going to talk about his automated inventory counts and how the data from SturdyPro Solutions shows up on the handheld devices in the ScanCo solution for their automated inventory counts, and all the data goes back into the ScanCo handheld solutions, where the picking and packing and the wave picking takes place with the multi-bin. And then Starship takes that data from ScanCo and Sage 100 and picks the best carrier based on all the rules of the shipment, based on where the customer is located, based on the price of shipping the item. And it will return the tracking number and all the shipment-related information back into Sage 100, updates accounts receivable, and at that time, if credit card is the preferred form of payment, Patty's solution will calculate the best rate based on all the detail in Sage 100 to get to the best credit card processing rate, because all the more data you have about the customer, the better the rate you can get. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Simon to start it off.
Great. Thanks so much, Adrian. So hello, good morning and good afternoon to everybody out there. My name is Simon Quinn. I am the National Sales Manager for SturdyPro Solutions. So today I'm going to cover our Automated Inventory Cycle Count, or AICC, if you will. I'm going to show you how it automates and simplifies your inventory counts. So initially I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the concept. I'll then jump into Sage and show you the functionality of how it works. And then lastly, I'll show you some of the reporting features after you go through the automated inventory cycle count. So by performing regular cycle counts, give yourself an opportunity to compare the quantities in Sage to the quantities counted. So this variance is a powerful opportunity to identify where your inventory system is working well and where you may have a control issue that needs to be tightened up. So if you notice that your numbers are way off, you now have an opportunity to find out why the problem is happening and to take corrective action. Now keep in mind, using regular cycle counts allows you to take corrective action more frequently. So for example, if you perform monthly cycle counts, you now have 12 opportunities to fix the problem versus 1 when performing an annual physical inventory count. So CertaPro's AICC is going to configure all of this for you. An important difference between cycle counting and taking physical inventory annually, by having your warehouse staff perform cycle counts of segments of your inventory regularly, you negate the need for shutting down your operations for a weekend or a period of time, or just to make sure that your numbers are correct. So of course, we all know that closing down your business for any period of time is going to be costly, and paying your employees overtime to perform physical inventory counts can add up as well. So this is what our inventory cycle count is going to help you eliminate. Now I'm going to move over to Sage. And you'll see that we have created our software under the inventory management physical count. So the program is a single screen user interface. It's very simple to use, very simple to manage. So the warehouses are going to be identified up here by using a alpha or numeric warehouse code, and you can scroll through the warehouse codes with these arrows. So each warehouse is going to have its own schedule. You can configure what time you want to generate the cycle count per warehouse, and you can set up automatic email notifications by warehouse also. So I'm going to go ahead and select a warehouse. And you can see that per that warehouse, all of the items associated with it have populated into these 3 grids. So the top grid is basically the filtering section. The middle grid will represent the filtering choices and shows you what have been assigned into the actual cycle count intervals. And the bottom is the summary based on what the setup is. So it shows you basically how many items you will be counting per day. So coming up top to the top grid, which is the filtering section, you'll see you have all valuations, all product types, and all procurement. So by selecting or deselecting any one of these, you will see that the middle grid automatically populates based on the choices that are made. You also have filtering sections or choices over here. So for example, if I want to take the look at a standard unit price of items greater than $1,000, greater than 1,000, plug that in, you will now see that the middle grid represents those filtering choices. So once you filter down to the actual specific sets of items, you can now go and perform your updates. So I've already selected the items that are showing them greater than $1,000, and now I want to assign a inventory cycle category and define how many times I want these items to be counted. So before jumping into that, I want to touch on some of the abbreviations here. So here we have YCC, which up top here means yearly cycle count. So upon implementation or adding an item, each of the items are going to have a value of -1. -1 means that you have not touched those items yet. So when you move them to a 0, it means that you have actually added them to be inventoried and counted. You can also have a number from 1 to 52, meaning that you can assign an item to be counted once a week, once a month, or whatever interval you require. So the update process is very simple. If I just hit the corner here, it's going to highlight all of these items. I can head down to the count frequency, and in this case, I'm going to select these for 12 times a year to be counted monthly. Click on Assign, and you will see that it's assigned that yearly cycle count number to all of those items. So you can also do it by individual. So if you check any of these boxes, you can change this number as needed. So jumping on to the next number here, or letter, the next abbreviation, which is RC, that stands for the remaining count. So this is another powerful tool that allows you to set up the items that are going to be discontinued. So we know that some items that are not going to be in your inventory perpetually, So this basically allows you to define how many more items, how many more times you want that item to be counted. So so if I select this item here for 3 more times, it's actually going to go ahead and count that item 3 more times and will automatically reset the yearly cycle count to 0. Continuing over here, we have the FCNT, which is force count next time, FCAT, which is force count all the time, and then we have hold. So for hold, in every warehouse, there's going to be scenarios where you're going to pull certain items temporarily to hold, and you don't want those items to be included in the count until the item is actually released back into inventory. For the force count next time, if you actually find a discrepancy and you want it to be resolved as soon as possible, the item in question might be scheduled for a count, 2 months from now, but you don't want to wait. So by checking this box, when you generate the cycle count, the item is going to be included. So jumping up to the upper right-hand corner here, we have the scheduler. And you can see we have the option to schedule the count automatically. So as you see, we're simply using the task scheduler from Sage 100. And here you can schedule what days of the weeks that you actually want to run the cycle count. Clicking on Active Warehouse, this actually selects the active warehouse that you have associated with the software. And you can either choose to make it active or inactive. Clicking on the options screen, this is where you will set up the various email notifications. So when you generate a cycle count, this is where the notifications will be configured. So I have email addresses set up for various staff in the warehouse that when they get to work, in their inbox is going to be a list of items that needs to be counted for that day. There's some other generation options here. For example, the rollover to YCC count from the large to small is a very helpful option. For example, when you have A or B items on rankings, once all of the A items have been counted, it's going to pull those items from the B category to be maintained to keep the same number of items to be counted per day. Now for the exception days, here you'll actually have the option to set up exceptions on the calendar. Basically, a calendar will populate and you will be able to select days to be skipped. And these can be holidays, these can be vacation days. The holiday type is going to apply to all warehouses and the vacation type is going to be to create a single warehouse. We also have the option to create a manual count. A manual generation here if need be, but in general it's going to be an automatic process. So once we generate the actual count itself, I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and we will jump into once the count has been created. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet that's actually delivered via email to the assigned warehouse team. So when they open up the actual email, they're going to see the CSV file that tells them what needs to be counted. So here you have the item code, you have the description, you have the bin location, and the last date counted. And here they would actually put the actual count and they populate the information here. So if you're using Scanco or you're using Multibin, with the scanner, you can actually go and quickly verify all of the counts and perform the update into Sage directly because these items would be already populated into the scanner. So I'm going to jump into the physical count entry program. Let me bring this large. So once we populate the warehouse here and take a look at the lines, you'll see that the items, I already have this open, I believe. So here's the physical count entry program. I will go ahead and populate the warehouse. And when you click on the line items, which it doesn't want to cooperate with me right now for whatever, it's actually going to show the items that need to be counted. And that's where you would actually input the actual number itself. So once that's completed, once the cycle count has been run and everything's been updated, you obviously want to know how accurate is the actual inventory. So for this reason, we have created basically what's called the inventory cycle count history. So this is a place that you're going to find all the items that not only have a discrepancy, but also the items that you have counted throughout the year that have been accurate. So you can actually look into here as to how many items are being counted each day, what was counted, the counted quantity, and additional info. So it's completely customizable. As for those users that are familiar with Explorer, you can drag and drop any of these fields and look at the information to analyze the data. You can also export this to Excel. Now, lastly, I just want to point out that one of the most common questions that we get when we go through this demo is that are the items that are involved in the cycle count actually frozen? We know that within the physical count worksheet, Sage uses the language when you print the worksheet, or basically print the worksheet and freeze the items, you are not actually freezing the items when you run the ICC counts. You can still go ahead and work with the items. It does not freeze them in any way whatsoever. The key is to capture the difference based on what is on hand and what has been counted. So thank you so much for taking the time to look at our automated inventory cycle count. And with that, I'm going to hand that over to Christy at One Software. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Simon. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. So again, my name's Christy Lamello. I'm with One Software Solution. Today I'm going to be presenting two pieces of software. One is going to be ACS's multi-bin. I'm going to specifically highlight for you guys today ACS wave batch picking. And then I'm going to then move over to my handheld scanning software with ScanCode Warehouse 100, which is going to automate that pick list and actually make it available for your users on the warehouse to be able to actually scan those items that they're picking for their sales orders from a handheld device, making it much more seamless with the picking process as well as shipping. And then once we've shipped that order, we're going to show you then, I'll hand it over to Starship and how that's going to be processed from there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump in first, and I'm going to show you inside of Sage how you can have this great tool with ACS called Wave Batch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you in Wave Batch order selection. This is enabled with the purchase of ACS. And you can actually create pick lists. So it's going to allow you through this selection screen to have the ability to do a range of orders to pick them, to pick them into a batch shipment. So I'm going to do this manually today so you guys get a good feel for how to create this, but this is something that you can have automatically triggered once you've set up your criteria. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create a wave batch. So I'll just create my next wave batch number. You can give a description to this. So this is the way that your users on the handheld are going to be able to tell exactly what pick list they want to select. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a description of Thursday PM pick list. So once I've given a description, I'm going to go ahead and I can fill out criteria here now, giving exactly what I want to pick. So I can have a ship date range. So maybe I just want to go ahead and ship orders from the 12th to the 15th. I want to see all the orders that are available for that. A really handy tool here is going to be that you can have a fill rate range. So maybe you only want to populate onto this pick list orders that can be filled 50 to 100%. I could change this to be maybe 75 to 100%, whatever you guys want to compile on this list. You'll see down below, you can also filter it by additional criteria like your warehouses. Maybe you have some high priority customers that you need to get out the door. You can filter it down by customer numbers. Ship via. So maybe you want to only ship your UPS or your postal service orders. You can create lists based on that. You could do product lines, region codes, all that is tools that you can use to create these lists. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys a log. So if I pull up this log here, this is going to show me exactly orders that don't fit the criteria and why they didn't fit that criteria. So if I had, actually my criteria was too much, so if you had any orders that maybe couldn't be filled, it's going to show you exactly why through that report. So if I had any orders that maybe I didn't have an item in stock, when I filter that, it's going to show me that on my log. So once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and hit select. And now it's going to give me a list of all of my sales orders that fit the criteria that I filled out above. So I kept everything blank in my fields above, except for I did my date range and then 75 to 100% fillable. So at this point, I can select out of this list which orders I actually want to go ahead and fulfill. So I'm going to say maybe I just want to do 2 orders. So I'm going to do my last 2 orders that I have, and I'm going to pull them over to my wave batch pick list. Now at this point, I could go ahead and split this list. So maybe I want to have 1 master list, and then I want to have maybe 2 or 4, whatever number you want, of different people working on one list, but they have it all broken up into their own smaller lists. You can do that as well. Now when I'm done, I'm just going to go ahead and hit accept. Before I jump over to the handheld, I wanted to show you some options as well. So this is where you would set up this list to actually auto trigger. So you can have unattended options here set up where maybe every time I have 10 orders, I want to go ahead and auto trigger this batch to be created. You can do that all through the unattended options. Okay, so I've created my wave batch pick list inside of ACS. And now on the handheld, this is how we're going to get that information. Let your warehouse staff know that they're ready to pick. So if I go to picking inside my picking options on the handheld, I'm now going to go into wave batch. So on my handheld device, anytime I have this red field, I could do 3 different things here. So I could scan that information. So if you guys don't want to be completely paperless, you could add a barcode to your pick sheets and actually print those out so you could scan off of that. A lot of our customers like to do that, at least when they first implement, so that you're still comfortable with paper, and then gradually wean their employees off of using paper and go completely paperless. That's definitely an option. Or you can always key in that information. So I could use my handheld keyboard and just key that in, or I could do a lookup here. Now when I do a lookup, you'll see I have 2 different pick lists available to be picked. The list I just created in ACS's Wave Batch Pick selection in Sage is going to be displayed now for me to pick. So you'll see that description. I'm going to go ahead and select it. It's going to ask me for the warehouse that I'm picking these items in. I have it set up to default to my main warehouse, so I'm going to go ahead and stay there. And now it's asking me where I'm going to be staging these items to, because it's going to have a separate pick, pack, and then ship process. So I'm going to stage to my shipping area. And now the handheld's telling me exactly where I need to go. So it's saying, go to bin A10M. I'm picking my sales order 197, and I need to scan my item 6655. I have a quantity of 5. So I'm going to go ahead and scan that item. And I'll pick a quantity of 5. Now it's just moved me on to my next item. It is the same item, but it is a different sales order. So if you wanted to separate your orders still, you can absolutely do that as you're picking. And we can turn that field off as well if you'd like, so where it's grouping these together. Either way, you'll have a ability to change that to whichever preference you guys have. Say I scan an incorrect item. So the handheld's gonna know exactly what I'm scanning, so it's gonna stop those mispicks as they're actually happening. So less running around the warehouse trying to re-pick items because you're actually gonna be validating it against the sales order as you're picking. So I'm gonna go back now, I'll scan that correct item now, and I'm gonna key in my quantity of 5 that I'm picking for that. And now it's moving my next bin location. So it's saying go to B10M, and you need to scan your item 1001. So I'll scan that item. And now I'll key in my quantity of 10 that I'm picking for that item. Same item, same bin, but it is going to be a different sales order. So I'll go ahead and scan that item again and key in that quantity. When I'm done picking, the handheld's going to let me know. So I'm going to go ahead and say commit. I'm going to say, yep, I'm finalized picking. And now at this point, I'm done with my pick. So everything was sent over into Sage, good. So I've staged everything in my shipping location. Now, if you didn't want to have a second validation, you could just go into ship picked and ship them at that point. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to do a second scan. And during that second scan, I'm also going to collect my box level details so that Starship can use that information. So I'm going to go into my shipping transaction. It's going to prompt me for my shipper ID. Again, I could scan here, I could key in my shipper ID, or I could do a lookup. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to choose, I'm going to be John today. So I'm going to go ahead and select my sales order. If I do a lookup here, this is going to give me a list of all of my open sales orders that are inside of Sage currently. We are a real-time solution. So I'll just go ahead and one of those orders I just picked, I'll select. So 197. Now, once I've selected that order, it's going to ask me for the box that I'm packing. So I'm going to go ahead and say box 1. And now it's asking me for my items that I'm packing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll rescan that item that I'm 6655. It's auto-populated my bin location because I did do that stage to my shipping bin. So you won't have to select your bin again. I'm going to go ahead and key in my quantity of 5 for that particular item. Say I'm out of room in box 1 now. I can go ahead and say choose next box on the handheld. So you'll see that +1 on the box. So now I'm in box 2. Maybe I, again, scan an incorrect item. It's going to let me know yet again, hey, that's not the correct item. You need to scan your next item that's on that sales order. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to scan my item. It'll again now have that shipping bin where I stage my items to. I want to point out as well, if you have item pictures set up in item maintenance, those pictures can be available on the handheld, so you can zoom in, you can see that thumbnail picture. So if you have items that look similar, or maybe you have staff with high turnover rates, whatever it may be, this is a good way to be able to give them visuals of what they should be picking and make sure that they feel comfortable with that as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to key in my quantity of 10. So at this point, I've selected everything. I've picked all of my items on that sales order. I'm going to go ahead and press send. I'm going to say I want to go ahead and send everything. And at this point, now it's going to go ahead and create my shipping data entry record with that box level detail. So at this point, I'll go ahead and I'll send it over to Caroline in Starship, and she's going to take over from there to show you guys how you'll ship it.
Thanks, Christy. So on the Starship side, now that Christy has picked and packed this order, we're going to ship it. So in Starship, in this left-hand corner here is where you would enter in the invoice that was created as a result of that handheld transaction. So I'm just going to put this in here. This can be scanned in, it can be entered, or you can search for it. And once Starship brings this up, this is going to have over here the header level information coming from the shipment. So we translated the ship via, the billing type, and then the recipient here is going to Racine Warehouse. So if you look down at the bottom of my screen, and if I drill into this information here, these are the boxes and item level detail that Christy just added on her handheld. So she put, if I drill into the item, she put 5 of these into one box, and then she put 10 of these into the next box. So we're grabbing all of that from the information that she's updated in Sage 100. A couple of things that we also do on the Starship side, if I just go into shipment level information here, you'll see that Quantum View Notify is selected. Starship does have its own email notification. So you can create your own branded emails that have your own look and feel for marketing purposes. These emails can go out in real time. So as soon as I process the shipment, your customers will be notified that shipment's on the way. Can also do things from a marketing perspective, like send promo offers and try to get them back to your shopping cart for repeat business. But in this case, I'm also using Quantum View Notify, which is coming from UPS. I'm using it for the exception. So this is if there's anything wrong with this shipment, it's going to notify my salesperson. So this is the salesperson that was on this associated to this order, and it's going to notify Chris then that you need to contact the customer because there's an exception on it. So it's just being a way of giving you a way of being proactive from a customer service perspective. So this came in as translated for UPS second day air, but I can always do a rate shop from Starship. Starship does give you the ability to support multiple carriers in one user interface. It supports both parcel, freight, and regional carriers. And it's going to go out and rate using your credentials so that you can see your contract or negotiated rates for this particular shipment across your carriers. So you can make informed decisions on which way you should ship it. So you'll see here that my customer service person put it in a second day air. It's getting there on Monday going second day air. But if you see here, I have a UPS ground option that's going to get there at the same time for much less. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now this can also, manual process that I just showed you can happen on the fly in the background using Starship Ship Via rules. So if you wanted to just automatically have Starship select the best method to get it there at the least expensive way, you can do that. I'm going to process the shipment, and Starship's going to generate the barcoded shipping labels, notify the carrier, and then update the Sage 100 transaction in real time. So this is an example of what we call our smart label. It's a combination packing list plus shipping label. So this is going to give you again, the information that was defined on the handheld printing out on your shipment document. This packing list can also be printed to a thermal. So if you wanted to print your 2 labels per box and just simply put the packing list on the inside and throw the shipping label on the outside of the box, you can do that and save a little bit of money on the actual paper itself. And here's my box 2 of 2. Those were 10 of the True Drawer filing cabinets. So now I'm ready to process my next shipment. What I wanted to do is just go into Sage 100 really quick and show you the results of that shipment. So let's go into invoice data entry. And I'm just going to bring up that last invoice that was created by Christy. Okay, so here's my tracking information. So this is Starship updating the package tracking table in real time. The same tracking table that actually package information that Christy started, Starship's just going to edit. And then also on my totals tab here, you'll see that Starship updated this freight amount. This freight charge here can include customized handling. You can use what we call our freight rules module to define the calculation. So it can be based on the list or your negotiated. And then you can add other logic. Maybe you want to add something based on your Sage 100 order total. So if the order total is over 500, you don't want to write freight back, you want to give them free freight. You can do that type of calculation so that the customer service or personnel doing accounts receivables doesn't have to go in and manually calculate it. The last thing I wanted to show is just our dashboard here. This is going to give you a browser-based view of the shipment history. And I'm just going to refresh this so that we can see the shipment that we just processed. So you can quickly find your shipment history. You can view metrics. You can run reports from here. And then you can also view your email notifications from here as well. So if you'll see this pending, this was the email that was generated as a result of that shipment. So the nice thing with this is it can include Sage-related fields right in the subject. You can put the PO number there, which will be a field that could be referenced by your customer. The package item and box information all defined here. So this would be a combination of what was defined on your handheld married with your shipment detail all in one area so that your customer has a lot more information about the shipment before it arrives. And then, of course, you can send them back to your shopping cart for additional purchases. Okay, that's all I had on the Starship side. I'm going to pass it over to Patty to show you how you can get paid on the shipment.
Thank you, Caroline. And while we're switching screens, I just want to mention that you can process credit card transactions from within shipping data entry when you integrate to Starship. So you can definitely take advantage of the rate shop functionality that Starship offers and go ahead and pre-authorize the transaction while you're right then and there. I do want to thank you once again for joining the webinar and allowing us to present. This is actually to help you better be prepared with completely automated, automation, I should say, mobility, security, and compliance through CertaPro, ScanCode, Starship, and then accept payments with a credit card processing solution from American Payment Solutions. Now, I'm going to jump into the presentation, but I wanted to touch upon the different types of rate structures that are available and which would be highly recommended no matter which processor you decide to process transactions with. Most people are happy with flat rates because they are very predictable, no changes. You have a rate that will show on your statement every month no matter what. The reason that we do not recommend flat rates is because you will miss out on any promotions or any programs that the card brands are offering due to the fact that you signed a contract with a processor that stipulates you will receive the same flat rate. So if you're receiving a flat rate of 2.85, the programs that are in place can lower it to 1.85 or 1.65, but you won't be able to take advantage of them if you have that flat rate contract. Tiered pricing really gives the option to anyone that would like to process with particular processors that will qualify transactions in different brackets. So they have a fully qualified, mid-qualified, and non-qualified type of brackets. And what will happen there is the processor has full control over the different types of qualifications. And really, when you get your statement, what you'll notice is that most of the transactions will be non-qualified or mid-qualified, giving you the higher rates. Now, there is one program that we do recommend, which is Interchange Plus. This is where you receive the hard cost directly from the card brands. American Payment Solutions will show you exactly where to verify that. And then the processor will negotiate an additional transaction rate plus a markup fee with you. That is the most transparent type of processing, and I'll tell you why it's so important. The card brands in the United States are offering level 3 processing. What exactly is level 3 processing? Level 3 processing is a program that was put in place back in 2008 where Visa and MasterCard are offering to lower your rates in half, sometimes even more than half, if you provide them with 13 or 16 required fields. Needless to say, most people do not have the time to process a credit card transaction and enter 13 to 16 fields manually. So what we've done is we've created an integration that will allow us to take the required fields from your Sage system and deliver them to Visa and MasterCard on your behalf, guaranteeing the very lowest rates possible in the industry without you having to take any extra steps. Now, what you see on the screen right now to the far right are the level 3 required fields that I just mentioned. And I'll tell you, a lot of these fields are coming from the scanning solution that ScanCode is providing, the inventory management solution, and the cycle count automation from CertaPro, and also from the shipping fees that Starship is pulling into the system. So we're able to take those fields, deliver them on your behalf, and get you the very lowest rate. Now, what exactly would that rate look like if you go through level 3? I'd like you to focus at the very bottom of the screen for the $16,769.60. Now, what I'd like to point out is the fact that this is a true analysis. The merchant that provided the statement was actually receiving a tiered structure, which is the fully qualified, mid-qualified, etc. And we were able to determine that the card brands were actually charging less of the rate that the processor was offering. And through level 3, we were able to save them close to $17,000 a year. Once again, the merchant does not have to do anything other than change to a processor that offers automated level 3 processing. And that is exactly what American Payment Solutions does. Now, throughout the presentation, I've mentioned that we do work directly with Sage 100. So number one, you can process the transactions within shipping data entry. Number two, if you are currently processing through Sage Payment Solutions, we do have a migration utility, so you will not have to worry about keying in any of your credit card information again into Sage. You will see it in the same place that you're accustomed to seeing it right now, which is in the additional tab under customer maintenance in accounts receivable. Another thing that we also offer that is fully integrated into Sage 100 is ACH processing. What you see on the screen right now is a setup of the ACH under customer maintenance, but also credit card processing, as I mentioned. Very simple. Due to PCI compliance, we ask that you key in all of the information from the credit card, and then we tokenize it, store the information in our secured vault, and this is what your users will see when they're processing a credit card transaction. We follow Sage's security settings we follow Sage's security settings as well as the user count, so you won't have to reset any of the settings for a user to process transactions. You can enter credit card information as you would in regular Sage in customer maintenance, or you can allow the user to add credit card information within a sales order on the fly in invoice data entry as well as cash receipts entry. Now, what I did is I pre-created a sales order. You can see that the credit card information will default into the sales order as you're already accustomed to. In the totals tab, if you're integrated with Starship, you will have the freight amount. However, if you do not have Starship and you're guesstimating, you can always go back and change the freight amount when you're ready to capture the funds, even after you pre-authorize. You have the option to pre-authorize or directly capture under a sales order. If you pre-authorize, I do want to underline the fact that our pre-authorization length of time is anywhere between 7 and 30 days. Now, I'm underlining that because most processors will allow you to keep a pre-authorization valid for 7 days only. So keep in mind with us, it can be up to 30 days. You can process transactions individually or in batches, standard Sage once again. I'm going to go ahead and process a pre-authorization. And what I have to do is simply click on Submit Card. What you'll notice is the credit card information that you chose will default onto the APS Pay screen. And at this point, it will ask you for a validation code, or the CVV code, which is a 3-digit number in the back of a card if it's a Visa or MasterCard. The user will be able to change to another card, edit the card, or completely delete or add cards on the fly, as I mentioned before. If the CVV code is a required field, which is entirely optional, you can turn that requirement off. The user will be forced into typing in the CVV code and then submitting the transaction. Once the transaction is submitted, you will receive a transaction ID that comes from the APS portal. The transaction ID is generated at the moment that we process the transaction in Sage. So the information is actually flowing into our portal live. And if you go to our portal and click on the transaction ID, you will be able to see all of the information that's coming from Sage right on the portal. So you can see we not only show you the credit card information, we also show you the bill to and ship to, order. We go down to the line level detail, and I'll tell you all of this information is what is being transferred or provided, I should say, to Visa and MasterCard on your behalf in order to provide you with the very lowest rates in the industry. So that's why a lot of the third-party products that are presented today are so important, because most of these fields come from those third-party products. And not only that, once we have those fields, we can give you the level of savings that I showed you on this analysis. And you have to do nothing different. Once again, you'll have the automation, mobility, security, and compliance. Now, I would like to point out the fact that we do offer very transparent merchant statements. We want you to know where the fees on your statement are coming from, who's making the money where, and where exactly there is room for savings. We guarantee our rates in writing, so you don't have to worry about the rates creeping up on you. We provide assistance with PCI compliance at no charge. We also provide level 3 processing at no charge, and it is automated, underline automated, because most processors will ask you to key in the fields that I showed you a few seconds ago. We do not charge for the credit card processing module, installation, implementation, or training, and we provide maintenance and support at no charge as well. We offer very simple gateway fees, which is $15 a month, no matter what the volume of your account is. We also offer 12-hour funding. So if you back out by 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will have the funds available in your bank account as early as 8 a.m. the next morning. So it's 11 to 12-hour funding. Our support team is available 24/7, 365 days a year. And when I say available, I mean a live human being will answer the phone even if you call at 3 in the morning. Our online management and reporting is very expensive. We offer thousands of reports, not just out of our portal, but we've also added batch reporting from Sage. We have a very streamlined installation process. And what I'd like to mention is if anybody is interested in obtaining a free analysis, all you have to do is send me a copy of your merchant statements. I will provide you with that analysis, no strings attached, and I will help you to understand and decipher your current merchant statement. We also offer American Express Opt Blue, which lowers the rates from American Express considerably. We offer the ability to process in the United States and Canada, also soon in the Caribbean and Latin America. The migration utility I mentioned literally cuts down the time that you need to process from days to hours, actually sometimes minutes. We also offer free equipment. So if you're in need of equipment, we have state-of-the-art credit card processing equipment, which we help set up, maintain, and support at no charge. If you're processing with Sage Payment Solutions, we will pay your cancellation fees. So what we're trying to do here is, now that Sage Payment has been disposed of, we want to make sure that you know there is an alternative out there, and American Payment Solutions will be your best alternative, because you will not struggle with making the switch, not as you make the switch or as the training happens, because as you can see, we work very similar to the way that Sage does, except we've added several new features. And last, I wanted to just mention that I'd love to invite everybody to Sage Summit in Toronto. If anybody's interested in attending, our booth is B13, and I just wanted to give everyone else on the call the opportunity to invite if they're going to be attending Sage Toronto. With that, I'd like to go ahead and hand it back over to you, Adrienne.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to go ahead and flash up the contact information. So I'm going to make myself presenter. And here's everybody's contact information. Let me show my screen. And perfect. Looks like I have the right screen showing. I'm going to launch some polls while I announce the questions. And just a reminder to everybody, if you do have any questions, please click on that question mark button next to your name on the webinar pane. And a dialog box will open up where you can key in your question. We'd love as many questions as you have out there, so please feel free, and we'll announce them as they come in. And let me launch this poll. So are you interested in learning more about any of the following? So just check all that apply here. And let's get on to the questions. We have a question. This is for you, Caroline. What are the yellow exclamation points indicating in Starship next to the rates in Rate Shop? Thank you, Jessica.
Hey, Jessica. Thanks for your question. Those just mean that there's additional information about the rate. Maybe there's additional handling. I think that second box has some additional handling in it, or just additional notices from the carrier that come back to that rating. So you can drill into each of those to learn more about what the carrier is trying to notify you on, but those are just little informational.
And it looks like we have a question for Patty. We use Sage Payment Solutions. How can you get a better rate from Sage than Sage?
Sage Payment Solutions does not currently offer level 3 processing, or if they offer it, I've never seen a successful implementation of level 3. So it's very easy for us to be able to lower your rates instantly with level 3.
And you said something, Patty, about Sage Payment Solutions dissolving. Did I hear you right?
Oh, I was just reading off of the press release where they were announcing, and I quote the words that were on the press release, disposal of Sage Payment Solutions. So it appears that Sage Software has sold off their North American Sage Payment Solutions, and now everybody's very uncertain as far as where they're headed. So I wanted to present American Payment Solutions as one of the best alternatives out there.
So if they sold their Sage Payment Solutions and it's a third-party provider now, it's not actually Sage. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
That is correct, Adrian.
And you already have that fully integrated solution, so it's seamless. They can switch over to you and probably realize the savings almost immediately.
Exactly. Not just a savings, but a very minimal learning curve. As I presented, the integration itself is very similar, but we have definitely added several key functions that were being requested by many of the Sage end users.
And we have another question from Jane. Thank you, Jane, for your question. It looks like for APS, American Payment Solutions, is there any additional programming needed when JobOps is installed?
Not that I'm aware of, but I will tell you some of our integrated products have come about due to a merchant requesting it, and we typically do not charge to integrate with other third-party products. We have, for example, integrated e-commerce solutions with CertaPro, with Starship, with Scanco, and there's really no charge. So really what will justify the cost of the development on our side is the volume of an account, and we could immediately let you know if we're able to work on the integration for you once we see a statement.
And we have a question, can we get a copy of this presentation so I may show the rest of my staff? Yes, we are recording this presentation, and just keep a lookout in your email box later on this afternoon or at the latest tomorrow morning. You'll receive an email follow-up with all the contact information of the presenters today, along with a copy of the recorded presentation via YouTube, a YouTube link. And all of our presentations, we have this and more on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ERPVAR. And you'll see all of these presentations there, all the presentations we've done over the past 4 or 5 years. And let's see. We have a question for you, Caroline. We have our own fleets of trucks. Can you add independent fleets of trucks into Starship?
Hey, thanks, Adrian. Yes, we have a user-definable module that you can license in Starship. Gives you the ability to define an unlimited number of carriers, and with customers that have their own fleet, many times they'll define each truck as its own carrier so that they can keep track of the shipments that are going out with each truck. And that will also give you the ability to create generic labels for your packages if you want to, as well as keep the workflow consistent for your shippers, with all the other carriers. So definitely can do that.
And it looks like we're out of questions for now. If you just wanted to remind the audience, if you do have questions, we'd love to hear them. Just click on that question mark button next to your name and key in your question. Let's see. Oh, we do have one coming in here. What is the cost of the one software solution with the multi-bin? How do I get that added?
So that's a great question. It's going to vary by quite a bit of different criteria. The Scanco piece with the handhelds is going to be based on users. And then the ACS piece, while there is ACS standard is included free for all Sage 100 clients, 100C, and then 2013 and above, there will be quite a bit of different questions we would need to ask to get that pricing for you. So if we can go ahead and contact you, or if you would like to reach out to us after, we can get you some pricing on that from there.
And we have another question from Jessica. Thank you so much, Jessica. What kind of support is available from Scanco and CertaPro? And so we'll go ahead and start with you, Christy.
Sorry, you cut out. Could you repeat that?
What kind of support is available from Scanco and CertaPro? So we'll go ahead and start off with you on the Scanco side.
So Scanco support's going to be included with your package. We do guarantee a call back within, a 4-hour window. And that's going to be unlimited support, whether it's going to be through, if you want to do it through email, through phone, and then we can remote connect you as well.
And then Simon, do you want to go ahead and explain
Sure.
on behalf of CertaPro?
Yeah. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, so the pricing for the automated inventory cycle count and the activation fee actually includes the implementation, all the training, the new releases, any bug fixes, and any updates. So you're covered as far as that is concerned. Additional support above and beyond that, which for this specific product is generally pretty minimal after the implementation, is either done directly with us or through your partner.
And when you say partner, your local Sage 100 support provider who probably implemented your software or has inherited supporting you on the Sage 100 side.
That's correct.
So what happens if they don't have a local partner, Simon?
They can feel free to discuss that with us, and we'll deal with that on a case-by-case basis. We are happy to discuss that option with them as well.
Perfect. So, I mean, if they, in the rare situation, if they don't have a partner, you guys are capable of supporting them after.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. We are a Gold Sage development partner, and we work with many companies, and we are open to that discussion, of course.
Perfect. But obviously, it's ideal to work with your local partner, because you know them so well, and they were the ones that implemented the solution probably and know your business. So there's always advantages to working with a channel partner. So it looks like we don't have any more questions. So I just wanted to thank, and we have, a couple minutes left. So we're on target with time. I just wanted to thank the audience again for spending this hour with us. We know your time is hard to come by, and we really appreciate you learning a little bit more about all of these solutions, and hopefully we'll be able to earn your business and support you in the future. We do have this poll open, and I see that 47% of you have voted. And if you could just take a second to answer this poll, we would love to hear from you. So we're at 57%, 59%. Yay! Did the panelists have anything else left to talk about, or closing comments? Oh, we do have a question from Rosie. Rosie, thank you. Does the ACS module work with a previous multi-bin solution offered by IIG?
They don't work together. We'd be happy to talk about switching you over to the ACS multi-bin solution. And we can walk you through how that would be handled and how we can make that as smooth as possible for you and have a successful implementation on ACS. I would just say reach out to us separately and we can start that discussion.
All right, well, it looks like we have 61%. Oh, we have another question from Rosie. Thank you, Rosie. All our bins are created in IIG, but don't want to start from scratch. Can you import that data over?
Yes, we can do that.
Perfect. So you could take that heavy lifting off their shoulders and do that on their behalf.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, so well, thank you everyone once again. I so appreciate it, and we hope to see you next time on our next Sage 100 webinar, which you will all receive an invitation for. Since you signed up for this one, if it's distribution related or manufacturing related, we'll invite you to that webinar, and we hope that you're able to join. And thanks so much. All right, take care, everybody. I'm going to close out this poll, and in the webinar, I'm going to share the results real quick. So it looks like we have 61% interested in your solution, Simon, 56% in your solution, Christy, 56% in Starship, and 28% in yours, Patty, for APS. And thanks, everybody, once again, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye, guys.